Has anything terrible ever happened to you?
What do you want me to say?
You wanted this conversation. You wanted to talk about something that matters. Talk.
What's going on? My name is LavaeReed, and this is my piece titled Swimming Pools Filled with Liquor. Almost forgot the title of the piece. This is a 14 by 17 inch piece made from charcoal and pastels on heavyweight paper. So what this is this piece shows an image of a man with his back face towards the audience, the viewer, and he's kind of looking slightly towards his right shoulder, right? And you can notice from this piece that his head is like kind of cut open, and then the top part of his head is actually kind of levitating above him, or I guess rising up so that you can see an inward. And within the center of his head is actually a swimming pool, right? But if you look closely, you see like a miniature version of himself standing in the same position as him. But with this one, he actually has I don't know what I can say on YouTube, but he has a pew-pew. He has a pew-pew to his head. It's not funny. It's not funny. And then you have two arms from the right and the left side of this larger version of himself, kind of stretched out above him, pouring bottles of alcohol inside of the swimming pool. So like it's a swimming pool filled with liquor. Really kind of inspired by the song Swimming Pools by Kendrick Lamar. That's kind of where like I got some of the inspiration from, right? And you can notice that it's like he's pouring in and like kind of mixing together light and dark liquor. That's what's happening here. So as you can see that, the miniature version of himself has a pew-pew pointed to his head, but you see on the larger version, he actually has a bullet wound on the side of his head. And, it's kind of subtle because it's kind of playing into the shadow due to the lighting that I have coming in from the left side. So on the right side, it casts a shadow, so it's kind of hidden. You don't really see it too well, but you see that like it has already happened. So in a sense, you look at this piece and you think like, okay, this is what's happening inside of his head. So like maybe he's thinking about taking his life. He's battling with depression, and then having outside sources like pour alcohol into the mix, obviously kind of like it led him to going through with the decision that he was already thinking about doing. And that's what happened on the outside. He already kind of took his life. I made this piece because this could have been like a very possible outcome for me. This could have been my fate many years ago. Much like everybody else, I've lost somebody who was like really close to me, and I had a tough time grieving over that person. For me, it was my first love. Really like the first relationship I was ever in, and that lasted about like 3 years, and it ended as when she passed away in 2018, and I had trouble grieving over her for like the next couple years. I think not a lot of people saw that at the time, but during that first year, I had a lot of people, really checking up on me, trying to reach out, make sure that I was good. But they always kind of like offered like, hey, we should go get a drink sometime, take your mind off things, and really just trying to push alcohol onto me. Like, a couple years before this, I had stopped drinking, stopped smoking, and all that, just because she didn't really want me to do all that stuff. She had like a couple toxic relationships in her past, so it really meant a lot to her that I would stop smoking and drinking altogether. And it took me a little while to get there, but I respected her wishes and I stopped doing that entirely. So after she passed away, and just to have like friends and even family members trying to like get me to drink with them, and it's literally all that they wanted to do. It's just something that wasn't necessarily right for me, especially because like, man, I was really going through it. In fact, like I've been kind of going through it my entire life since maybe since the age of 9, because that was the age where I kind of realized like, oh, I actually I'm a little bit suicidal, not gonna lie. I was just dealing with so much at that age, and then kind of growing up, like more so after that, everything just kind of kept building up. So when I got to 2018, when she passed away, it hit me hard, and I just knew that drinking was not going to be the best thing for me, because this could have very well been my fate. So like, this has like a lot of personal significance to me, but really I just wanted to kind of make this piece just to, what's it called? I wanted to kind of just make this piece to put it out there that, you know, you don't have to take up this vice. You don't have to, you know, be pressured into doing something that you don't want to, especially if it's something that's not good for you. In my personal opinion, I don't think people should be drinking at all, but, you know, I'm not going to tell people to just not drink. You know, do what you got to do. I just know that people tend to drink whenever they would like to feel numb or try to take their mind off of certain problems that they're dealing with. But in all reality, it kind of just makes them feel worse, especially when they're starting to sober up, because, you know, they're getting hit with all the shit that they're running away from. So that leads to them drinking even more, and that eventually becomes a problem. I don't think that this is a vice that is worth taking up on in order to escape from the issues that you may be, like, you know, dealing with. While making this piece, I kind of realized so many things about myself. Like, this piece caused me to do a lot of reflection upon myself, about the person who I was before growing up. And, like, you know, it made me think about myself as an artist, think about myself as a person. And I'm still kind of experiencing a lot of regret, or just, I have like a lot of critiques against myself. I want to be more. I want to be different from how I was back then. But let's just start from like an artist perspective. So over the past year, I've been kind of doing works in this like similar style that was inspired by Caravaggio. And I think I might be putting that to an end very soon. I'll kind of see, because, you know, I've been kind of studying up on his style, seeing what I can learn from him, because that's how he kind of established himself as an artist, as he would copy the paintings of the old masters that came before him, like Michelangelo and all the other Renaissance artists in that time. And so I figured I would kind of do the same thing. So I took a couple pieces of Caravaggio, and then I would kind of like just, in a sense, copy it, but put it into like my own piece. But really just to kind of capture his lighting techniques. And the majority of Caravaggio's paintings are made with a plain black background, or like just a really dark setting. And that's something I've been doing for over the past year with multiple different pieces. But I think I'm ready to kind of move on to something different, to establish my skills in other areas. Because I was thinking about some of the artwork I used to do back in the day, like back in 2018, and my work was just like very chaotic. It was still more or less the same thing, like I had a story to tell, right? But it was just like very surreal, kind of like something that's comparable to Salvador Dali's work, right? I'm not saying like I'm up there with him, but like the vibe was kind of similar. And so when I look at my artwork now, everything is just a lot more controlled. It's I guess I feel like it's less creative. Me personally, I feel like it's less creative. And so I don't know what direction I want to take as an artist, but I feel like I want to definitely go forward in a new direction, possibly bring back some of the old principles and things I was doing before, and doing them and bringing them to the artwork I continue to make going forward. And thus the next artist I'll probably study up on is probably Salvador Dali. because I think that would probably I'd probably bring back that source of creativity and that surrealistic style. Because, like, wouldn't that be crazy to combine the styles of Caravaggio and Salvador Dali and put them together, right? That would be dope. But, like, obviously it's going to be done in my style. I'm just taking things from this artist and from that artist and see what I can learn from them, and then putting them together and seeing how I can, like, better myself and climb newer heights. Because I really do look up to these artists, but I want to be something more. I want to be great in my own right. And this is another thing I was thinking about. I was like, how I'm evolving as an artist. Through my walk with God, I've been learning to separate myself from my ego and make that pretty much non-existent. But I can't help but feel as though that I want to be something. As I've been thinking about how I've been humbling myself and thinking of myself as someone who is nothing, someone who was just made out of the dirt that God brought Adam out of, or just nothing more than a mere breath. I look at myself and I see that there's, like, so much I want to accomplish. I want my name to be exalted. I have, like, these ambitions and these goals, and my ego is starting to come back, and I'm trying to find a balance in order to kind of establish that. But let's go ahead and get back to this piece. This piece kind of stirs up a lot of different emotions within me, but as far as, like, my audience is concerned and how I want them to sort of perceive this piece, as I want them to kind of have the sort of same feelings that I have. Like, when it comes to having such a vice as to kind of run away from the world, I feel like we all have to be drunk on something in order to get by. So if it's not alcohol, it might be drugs, it might be your family, your work, or sense of purpose, power. Could be any one of these things. And so as I was kind of thinking about it, it's just like, if all of these are kind of substitutes, is one necessarily better than the other? That's something I'm not exactly sure about, but I would personally recommend that somebody who is looking for a good substitute, so like if somebody is wanting to step away from alcohol, put the bottle down, and make great changes to their life, I would make a substitution alcohol with I think the only thing that's really worth doing is chasing God, because I feel like that is the only thing that's very fulfilling. That is like the path to true peace and happiness, rather than just trying to find something else to drown your sorrows with, right? So I want my audience to kind of look at this and evaluate themselves, and if they have a problem with alcohol, or they are surrounded by a bad company that is always trying to force it upon them, or every time they want to do something is always go out and drink, then maybe they want to evaluate the company that they keep around. It's really just kind of looking at themselves and their life from an objective perspective. Subjective, objective, I think it's objective. Look at themselves objectively and kind of make changes going forward. Because finding your way to the end of a bottle is not going to solve anything. It doesn't change any of your circumstances. It just gives you a temporary numbness, and it doesn't change anything in the long run. So if you are somebody who is dealing with depression and dealing with these suicidal thoughts, this is one thing that's not going to help you at all. And it sucks, because I know there's a lot of people out like that in the world. There's so many people who want to take their own lives, and it makes me sad, because I actually have somebody in specific in mind as I'm kind of talking about this. She just really does not enjoy her life, and she thinks about just ending it all almost every single day. She would talk to me and tell me how much she just doesn't want to be alive. But as she's telling me these things, I understand that it's just not true. That everything that she says is essentially a lie, because in truth, nobody really wants to die. Nobody. It's just that we want the circumstances of our life to be different. We sometimes wish that we ourselves are different. Somebody's different from who we actually are. Somebody who makes better decisions in our lives. Somebody who is I guess more accepted within the community, within certain friend groups. Somebody who is in a sense better than how we think of ourselves. It's not that we wish to die at all. It's that we just want things to be different. And I just wish more people would take the time to actually work on those changes that they want to make, or just work on loving themselves just a little more. Instead of resorting to stuff like this. Man, praise God, man, because I don't think I would have gotten this far without him. I just want people to do the same thing. I wish people had the courage to do that. And I know that courage is in them. It's in everybody. Truly. I don't know. I'm rambling at this point. Let's wrap this up. I think that's really just about it. Yeah, let's wrap it up immediately. If you are interested in purchasing this piece, it is up for sale. You can just either email me, DM me, or go to my website and handle things there. If you want to know more about this piece, like maybe you didn't get enough from me just rambling on and on about meaningless shit, you feel free to visit my website, where I type up a blog, give you all the information about the in and outs about my pieces. It's up right now. I'll leave the link in the description below. If you actually stay to the end of this video, I appreciate you. And I just hope to see you in the next video. But I would like to have an open discussion about some of these subject matters. I want to get to know my audience on a deeper level. So any comments is appreciated.